됐죠?
Maybe the last day of training, you can memorize everything. Sometimes it's difficult to memorize. Me too, same, because I live in the Philippines for 38 years, but still I cannot speak Tagalog. And it's very difficult to memorize. When I was still young, many Filipino can speak English. Even my factory worker, I can communicate with them. That's why I don't need to use any Tagalog. But this time, little bit difficult. Even our factory worker, sometimes they couldn't understand the English because they changed the educational system. But when I try to memorize, today I already memorized, but next day I already forgot. That is how you become old. It's the same. Not only for me, but also for you. When you become old, it looks like the same. How are you today? This morning you have a morning roll call. Maybe some of you have it's first experience. And how did you feel? Sometimes we don't exercise. Just sit in the chair and read and work. Then going back to their house, also no exercise. I believe you have reciting this morning. If you lose money, you will lose little. If you lose your honor, you will lose much. But if you lose your health, you will lose all. That is very clear in the Bible because Nicodemo approached to Jesus. Jesus told Nicodemo everything. Because if you lose your health, everything is finished. Now, many people has a long life. 100 years, maybe up to 120 years old. Maybe your age, maybe you can live up to 120 years old. But if you are not strong, and if you have a problem in your health, what is the meaning of to have a long life? There is no meaning of long life. That's why you have to maintain your health by yourself. Nobody can help you. Nobody can help you. You are the only one who should maintain your health. That's the only way you can have a long life. I just want to share my family. My mother is still alive. She is 100 years old this year. Yeah. But still, she can talk and she can recognize everybody. Sometimes she forget. But still, he recognizes everybody and still he can talk. And walking is a little problem, but he used this the chair, then still he can work. What is the meaning of this? If you maintain by yourself good health, you can have a long life with good health. Then you will not give any burden to other people. That's why always maintain your good health. Then last February, our family gathered all together in the States because my mother stays in LA. Then 20 families gathered together and stay with my mother for 10 days. Then we have a very pleasant time. Then when I share with Dr. Che, he benchmarking with me, and he also have a family gathering. I can last when is it? July? When was that? July, August, October. And he had 21 families member gathered together from different 5 countries, 7 countries. Then that is one of the happiness. Then when you have old parents or father or mother, maybe every 5 years, every 3 years, gather all together and give pleasure to your parents. That is the way how we can live in this earth. Elder Yonggi Kim, he has another name. That is Ilga. Ilga. Ilga is his separate another name. Il means one. Il means one. Ka means family. Ilga means one family. The meaning is that Canaan is one family. We came from different countries, different nation, different families, different community. But once we join in Canaan, we are one family. That is what we emphasize to the world. That means your community, when you start your Canaan movement, you have to make all of them as one family. We didn't have any blood sharing, but we have spirit sharing. That's why we can be one family. When you become one family, you will be very strong. That's why when we introduce World Ghana movement, we emphasized about one family. Here we have, in Canaan, Philippines, we have community, Christian community, but we consider as one family. Biologically, I have only two grandchildren, one grandson and one granddaughter. But inside this compound, I have 7 grandchildren. 7 grandchildren. I treat them as grandchildren. That's why they call me as grandfather. In Tagalog, Lolo. They don't say that any other name or something. They just say Lolo. My wife, they say Lola. That's why to become one family is very important in our life. Because in the Bible, very clear to the mention that we are God's children. It means one family. As Christian, we should become one family. But when we look at the world, it's quite different. Different denomination, they don't cooperate each other. Sometimes they criticize each other. But if we really follow the Bible, even we have a different interpretation of the Bible, as Christian, we should become one family. That is what our God wants us to do. That's why when Jesus had the last prayer, Jesus prayed to God, as we are become one, meaning our Father God and the Son Jesus and Holy Spirit. As we become one, let them become one. Then they will know that Jesus is the Son of God. It's very clear. That's why we work in different sector and different denomination, a different organization. As Christian, what we have to remember is that we are one. This morning, I want to share about what is Ghana's strategy of transforming society. How we can transform. I just want to share about little bit poverty history. What is the history of poverty? Why there are so many poor people in this world? In 1945, the end of the World War II was turning point of the history. Before 1945, many Asian countries and African countries were colonized by Western countries. And from 1945, this country became independent. There is a different year, but from 1945, starting 1945, all of these colonized countries became to be independent. But after independence, the problem is all of them are poor. All of them poor. Why they are poor? It's very simple. Because Western country extract so many assets from colonized country, but that's not all. They don't teach how they can live, how they can cultivate their life. No education. That means after independence, when they start, they don't have anything. They don't have assets. They don't have educated people. Then result is poverty. Then ironically, when we talk about mission field, many missionary goes to these poor countries. Became mission fields. Now, I just want to share about how many people are poor in this country, in this world. This is just from World Bank data year 2022. Total population in the world is 7.9 billion. And in the United Nations and World Bank have some kind of static data. If your income is $2.15 per day, they call this one as extreme poverty. That means the baseline of extreme poverty is $2.15. That is decided by United Nations and World Bank. Then, how many people fall in this? People live with $2.15 per day is around 713 million people. Compared to total population is 9%. 9%. Can you imagine $2.15 daily, monthly is around $70. That means 700 million people are living with $70 per month. This is a real story. And those people who earn or who spend $3.65 per day is around 1.8 billion. 1.8 billion is 22% against total population in the world. Then $3.65 means how much per month? It's less than $100. Then 1.7 billion people are living with this. And another one, those people who live with $6.85 per day, around 3.5 billion people. That means 44% against the total population in the world. If you earn $6.85 per day, it means monthly is around $200. Then you can compare. You can compare. Then almost half of the world population, they are living with $200 per month. This is the data from World Bank. Then we can imagine that how many people are living in the poor in this world. And now, I just share about how poverty rate was go down. This one is 1990. That means how many years before? Around 34 years before. Then this is the extreme poverty is almost 40%. But it's going down. But remember, in 1990 in China, also there are so many people are living in extreme poverty. Then tremendously they decrease. And those who are living with $3.65 is around 58%, but now become around 22%. But this is tremendous decrease. But if you see that $6.85 is very slow. Very slow. That means still there are many people are living with in poverty. Then this is 22.4%, and this one is around 45%. The reason I show this one is you can just see the trend. This one is very fast, same, but still this one is very slow. Then you can analyze what is the poverty in your country and your nation. You can analyze this. Then when you check the percentage, it's slowly go down. But when you check the number of population is quite different. Then you can imagine why. For example, this is the number. This is number. 2.15, as I explained, 713 million. And 1.7 or 1.8 billion, 3.5 billion. But when you see the trend, this one is go down. But when you see $6.85 per day, it go up, but very slow. Now I just want to raise a question to you. Why? Why percentage is different from the number? Anybody can comment? From the number. Why there is a difference? Because, for example, when you see this one is a slight go down. But when you see this one, not really go down. Very similar. What is the reason? Anybody can comment? Yes? Yes. Yeah, that's right. Because when they make these statistics, like a United Nations or World Bank, they say, wow, the percentage, the rate of poverty is go down. But when you check the number, it's not. Because we have to consider increasing of population. Especially Africa. When you say the extreme poverty in Africa, especially Sahara Africa, by percentage it goes down. But when you check the number, it increases. But when they make a report, they don't say about number. Why? Because they want to show the performance. But in reality, the number was increased. And out of whole nation, they just check the total. But when we check, except China, the rate is not really go down because of China. China, can you imagine, from 1.2 1.1 billion people, it goes down around less than 1 million. Because they have a rapid growth of economy. That's why they always combine. Then they show. Then I'm not economist, but I just analyze this and show the trainees what is a real fact. Real fact. Yeah. Yes. Yes. Yeah, that's why we are using PPP. This one is based on, we are not using current. We are using purchasing power parity, PPP. Because if we don't use the PPP, it's very difficult to compare. That's why when you compare the poverty between the country, we always base on purchasing parity, the purchasing power parity, PPP. That's why we can revalue about the currency. But of course, if there is like a default or something, economy really go down, the currency was devaluated for 40%, 100%, we cannot compare. It's very difficult. This is in general. Okay, then, now, I just checked by sector, then you can understand very clearly about the status. Because when you work in some community development or in the field and to help the poor people, you should know what is ongoing in the world. You should have background. Then it's easy for you to check. When you try to help farmers, also same. That's why I want to share about this data. And this is $2.15 for extreme poverty. East Asia Pacific, that is this including China. Then if you see 1990, very fast. Now almost down. See, almost down. Then this effect because of China. And for the South Asia also same. But if you see the Sub-Saharan Africa, different. If you see here and here, that means the rate was decreased, but the number was increased. Now, then, which country, this is extreme poverty, this is Sub-Saharan Africa, then this is South Asia, then Sub-Saharan Africa, many countries, this one. Then this will be here Ethiopia, and most Congo, Nigeria, Tanzania, and Mozambique. Then you can analyze this in the mission field, what is ongoing. And in South Asia, India is the most. That means still India has many poor people are living. That means at least as a missionary or at least try to NGO staff or something to help the poor people or evangelize the people, we should know this background. Then it will help you. Now, about $3.65 per day, if you see East Pacific, also go down. And now they have only 150 million. But South Asia still 475 million people. And if you see the gap, this one, almost similar. And Sub-Saharan Africa is increasing. From here, the number was increasing because of increasing of population. Now, when you see the by country, this is Sub-Saharan Africa, and the number is become similar. The South Asia, India is the most, Pakistan and Bangladesh. And this one, Sub-Saharan Africa, Nigeria, like this. Then this will help you to analyze in the world. Interesting? Now, what about $6.85 per day? If you see here, East Asia Pacific, still they are 584 million. And South Asia, it's increasing. From here, increasing. Of course, Sub-Saharan Africa was increasing. Then, why we analyze this one? If we analyze this one, we will know what is the trend in the world. And you can compare to your nation or your community and your country. Then you will find out what is the solution. Because the reason why we analyze this one is to find out the solution. And this is by country. Then South Asia is most. Then here India and Sub-Saharan Africa and East Asia. Then later, if you have more interesting for this, you can analyze more. Now, what is societal poverty rate in the World Bank? That means it's what we call the common poverty. Common poverty. It was decreased from 52.12% to up to 27% after 40 years. After 40 years, but I tried to identify the number, but I couldn't find that number in the statistic by World Bank because they just check the rate, but I couldn't find out the number of the societal poverty rate. Then the question is, what is the reason of poverty? What is the reason of poverty? Why after World War II, the colonized country was not able to get out from the poverty? What is the reason? Because after World War II, from 1945, Western countries poured a huge amount of dollar in developing countries because they have some kind of debt with them. That's why they pour huge of dollars. But still they are poor. Still they are poor. Not only poor, but colony economy. What we have to remember is that before colonization by territory occupation, they go there and occupy in territory. But now, colonization by economy. By economy. That's why we have to be careful about that. Before, when they tried to colonize the other country, there was occupation, territory occupation. But now, they don't use it. They use economy. Then, many countries are now under economical colony. That is the reason why to be independent and self-reliance is very, very important in the nation. If not, you don't know when you will be slave to other countries. And not only that, also they lost sustainable growth. Sustainable growth. Like for example, in the recent history, there was IMF, what we call financial crisis, 1997. It was really very, very difficult in Asia. It started in Indonesia and Malaysia and Philippines, and it goes to Korea. And even my company, I almost bankrupt because of that. And what is the behind the story? Behind the story is the economy, hedge fund. 2008, another problem came. The Lehman Brothers Bank in America bankrupt. After that, we have another financial crisis. It means now you have to check very carefully about money flow. That money will destroy one nation. That means one person can destroy one nation if they have a huge money. That's why you have to be careful. Then how we can protect ourselves? Self-reliance and to be independent. That is the only way you can survive. Now, why new countries are poor? The problem is they poured a huge amount of dollar, but the donor country become accustomed to giving. They just think about, oh, I will help you with money. That is their habit. And receiving countries become accustomed to receiving. Oh, we don't have money, please give us. And we don't have rice, please give us. Then it was their habit and their tradition. Then what happened? There will be corruption, laziness, and dependence. Corruption. Receiving country, leader of receiving country, they fall in corruption. And the one who received the aid or donation, they become lazy. And of course, they just depend on aid. Of course, like Korea before, we just rely on aid, but not continually. Not continually. Initially, we received aid, but we utilized that aid to reproduce, and we were able to be independent, and we can make economic growth and development. This is a very important point. Now, I heard if you go to London, England, in London there are very big houses there. Then now the owner is no more the British. The owner came from where? Of course, India and Africa. What's the meaning of this? What's the meaning of this? Corruption. Corruption. Of course, every country has a corruption, but it depends on. In Korea before, when we have aid, also there was a corruption, but it was not continued. That's very important. It was not continued. Because of this, all countries became poor. I just want to introduce one book. It was written by Dambisa Moyo, who is the economist. She came from Zambia, and he was the professor in Columbia. Now he's a freelancer. And when he wrote this stat aid, it was very sensational. Why? Because many economists talking about the amount of donation. That means they always ask, okay, US, you have to increase more. Korea, you have to increase more. They are talking about money. But Dambisa Moyo is a different story. I read this one is a summary. In the past 50 years, more than 1 trillion in development-related aid has been transferred from rich countries to Africa. Has this assistance improved the lives of Africans? No, in fact, across the continent, the recipients of this aid are not better off as a result of it, but worse, much worse. The famous professor, I will mention about his name. He have a project, 1 million village project. That means one village, he poured $1 million. Then if you develop other village, how much do you need in the world? It's a huge amount. Of course, when you input $1 million in one village, you can make a very beautiful and very good village. But only one. Maybe he tried to make a model. But if other village to follow that model, they need $1 million also. Agree? But they still ongoing. Still ongoing. Then they just think about fundraising and donation of funds. But if you just use fund or money to develop, you might fail always. Same like this. For example, there is a wild dog, and the farmer catch the wild dog in the forest, and catch and put in the inside the house, and with some fence, and this wild dog cannot go out. Then keep on giving feed, good feed. After 6 months, this wild dog cannot find out his feet anymore. This was the proof by the scientific the test. If you go to States, there is some Indian camp. In Indian camp, there are so many people are living in India. Indian is original the resident in America. They have a free rice, free food, free liquor, free cigarette. Everything is free. What will happen? Slowly dying. Slowly dying. That is the reason why we must remember that aid program we need it, but short period. But after short period, we have to use that aid for reproduction. Then you will have successful story. Okay. What is a traditional aid and development strategy? Traditional aid and development strategy just teach the technology, and to construct facility necessary to the community and provide all the basic needs. For example, they want to construct like a computer center. And they provide many computers. Of course, initially it was very good project. But after 5 years, when you visit again, no more. Why? No maintenance, no fund for operation. Like a special computer, you have to upgrade every year. But they say, wow, we made a good project. What is the meaning of this? They just provide good facilities, that's all. And they teach technology. Like, for example, we train the people in India or in Ethiopia. Modern technology, very modern technology. But there is no job there because no company, no corporation. That means what they have to do is look for the job in abroad. After learning, they go to abroad. Then, for the country, it not really help. That's why the traditional development is just for teach the technology and to provide the necessary facilities and also provide basic needs. And for this, what is the problem? They develop mindset of dependency, and they just rely on foreign countries or social workers. Because of this problem of community in the developing area, there is a problem in the community. What is the problem? First, they are not self-supported or self-reliance, and not sustainable. Not sustainable. That's why they just rely on foreign aid or NGO to support to their life. When I give a special lecture to the master course in Yonsei University, those people who came from different countries, and one the student came from Nepal, and I asked him, "How many NGO in Nepal?" Then he told me, "Maybe I don't know exactly, but around 20,000." I'm not sure that is true or not. Maybe discount 2,000. Okay. Then I told him one word. If you want to develop your country, you kick out all the NGO. Then after 20 years, your country will be changed. What is the meaning of this? One village, they invite one NGO and work together for 2 years. The NGO short of the funds, then they call another NGO come. Work together. This is happening in the world. Happening in the world. That's why many NGO now try to get the project. If they cannot get the project, they cannot pay the staff, the salary of staff. It's impossible. That's why they just hire fund manager, fund generating manager, then share. This is happening. Then, how we can do, that is after break, I will continue.